Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The session will now begin.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to welcome you all for coming here to the special OIC Halal conference. I think there is a problem. Could you check?
इसको बोल
Eco is coming, eco.
एको तू करना कंट्रोल कर उसको फोन ना कंट्रोल कर
Can you control it? Man लिए से है, control नहीं होगा, उधर ही से होगा ये, please. The monitor is also not working. I don't know what is happening.
It's very bad, huh? JP, very bad. Why you didn't check all this, JP earlier? Everything, okay, come on, do it first. Sure.
presentation, I will speak about SMIC and the Halal quality infrastructure of the OIC. This is the outline of my SMIC structure and SMIC organs, Islamic rules in OIC SMIC standards, and shortly I will give information about our standards. Be well known by yourself, but shortly we can say the second largest intergovernmental organization after the United Nations, established in September 1969, have 57 member states spread our 4 continents, and OIC itself is collective voice of the Muslims world and ensuring to safeguard and protect interest of Muslim world. What is CIMIC shortly? I can say CIMIC is the treaty-based and intergovernmental organization, technical and affiliated to the OIC. CIMIC also recognized as an international organization and has diplomatic status in Turkey. Officially established in August 2010, and we are not a certification bodies. We are authority for general rules and standards. When you look at the objective of CIMIC, start to work to Sayın Komiser, if company has some problems or that don't not understand how they solve the issues, they can contact with the National Religious Authority for producers, for certification bodies, accreditation bodies. But in standards say how they will cooperate with the national religious organization. But main fatwa is from the International Academy. If academy has a fatwa, we can reflect. If academy doesn't have any fatwa for some issues, we cannot reflect standards, as we see for understanding issues, other issues. CIMIC 3, or CIMIC 3 is confirmed assessment standards also. Requirement for halal accreditation bodies, accrediting halal confirmed assessment bodies is also reference with ISO standards and plus Islamic fiqh rules. But here I want to say ID, if the company has this, can do halal certification. For this accreditation, also same rules, but OIC country has this Kurdistan only can do accreditation activities. It means only 57 country has right to do according to these standards. The others are for producers, for the sectors, cosmetic standards, and then we have a standard for the restaurant. We have standards for halal tourism and services. And here we can say this is after 7 years work. Finally, there's a published standards for halal issue. Also, in these standards, we have reference to other standards maybe for the for accommodation for the some places we have some groups, some categories for the certification. The other standards for the halal supply chain, part 1, part 2, part 3. And then we have new standards for halal quality management system. We have another standard last year published, halal edible gelatin, and then general requirements for food additives and added chemicals, etc. We have 4 standards for the conference assessment area, new standards published a year before. One for the example of a certification scheme. The second is for the general for the bodies that are operating personal certification for halal issues. And then new 2 standards for testing laboratories. This is the all standards published as a understanding. Now we have many new projects for test methods for example, new standard for the animal feeds stuff, and then another standard with the TCs are working. In the all activities, all things, all standards for countries. We are saying each country should have a system. If your country doesn't have any system, infrastructure, standards cannot be used professionally. This the international practices for all type products, from automotive, from the electricity, everything. Each country has this system. They have certification bodies. They have National Metro Institute. They have a national standards body. They have many certification bodies and a single accreditation bodies. And in the bottom you are seeing for the conformity assessment, certification, inspection, testing, calibration activities. They have this advised by the international organization, and each in the world, each country has this system. Any country, you can see, from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to Turkey, Pakistan, Malaysia, they have this one for normal products, because otherwise they cannot sell any product to other countries for the follow the system and for recognition. When back to halal, it's nobody respect the system. Everybody looking just the final step, recognition. Recognition is the result. For the result, if you are not ready, if you don't have a system, how you are recognized? For recognition, you have to a respectful and applicable system. You have to have accreditation. You have to have professional certification bodies. You have to have standards bodies, or use single international standards. If you follow the national standards, national approach, national recognition system, it means every time you will fight, and we will look the follow the. Everybody say we are the best. We are not looking the best. We have to have a best system. For halal, the umbrella way and look, we need single standards for the OICs every time. Advice has a many decision. Only OIC standards, the OIC standards can be used for this is the official decision of the OIC. For the accreditation and certification accreditation, also standards based international practices and adopted by authority. It's CIMIC. This is the general umbrella, but just want to show you last nearly 10 years under the CIMIC. Maybe some of our friends can be reminded or remember. We discussed how we will establish system. Alhamdulillah, last year this system was finalized and officially has been sent to OIC for the further endorsement. You can see from right side in the bottom standards for producers, manufacturers, service providers. And the bottom level is the guideline or standards for certification, halal certification activities. And the top accreditation standards. In the pyramid, you say accreditation is top organization for the system, follow the system. But key actors are here, certification bodies and producers, all pillars, all actors have a single standards and recognize each other. In the future, inshallah, we will have a mutual recognition. We will have another top organization for the whole system for the international recognition. Name is not important, but it will be established by the national accreditation, halal accreditation bodies after the some pre-evaluation procedures, etc. What will be win from this system? There will be traceability. Traceability is very important for certification, for accreditation, for the final, for recognition. And then it will be real increase of consumer trust on halal because it's controlled system, public control, accreditation based control, certification based control by system, by other partners. And the final, we will have a mutual recognition, one-time certification, accept everywhere. And then there will be a big diminution in technical barriers to trade. And finally, we will have the result, a full halal, or we will be trust in each other. Finally, I want to say as a slogan, CIMIC standards are the result of common study and achievement of the OIC member states and its partners through the technical committees, key organs, technical committees. Each technical, when I said before, like is international organization governed by the member states and very professional platforms. CIMIC is a common platform to set for all stakeholders. If any organization, international organization or national organization want to be actors, this platform is open to all type of stakeholders, universities and unions, etc. OIC halal standards are the common standard for the Muslim world and all interest parties, not for the only for the CIMIC members and only for the OIC member states, because we are working for humanity. And shortly, the CIMIC and halal quality infrastructure. If there's a question, I can answer. Thank you for giving me a chance to introduce shortly CIMIC and halal quality infrastructure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I would like to thank you, Mr. Isanovit, for his information given by him and important information about CIMIC structure and halal quality infrastructure. Now we will continue with the second speaker, which is myself. I'll be trying to give you the basics about the preparation process of standards that we are talking about since the beginning of this conference, how we issue standards, how the technical contribution of members are involved. I'll be speaking about these topics. Okay. Okay. What's a standard? The first question I would like to ask you, because many of you especially the certification bodies in halal, they use documents which are called by themselves standards, but we have a definition of standards, which is a document. It should be prepared by consensus. It should be approved by a recognized body, contributed by its stakeholders, and it should be common and repeated use, and it should be voluntary. So this is briefly saying standards are the documents that defines the modes of a process or service or a product. These are the standardization stakeholders. You have to take into consideration the stakeholders' contribution to the standardization process. Otherwise, it will be one-sided and not impartial document that you will have. So therefore, in our process in CIMIC, we try to take the all contribution of relevant stakeholders with the scope of the standard, like Chamber of Commerce, private sector, or universities, non-governmental organizations, industry, consumer, etc. So this is what is needed for a healthy standardization process, I can say. Therefore, in CIMIC, we start with the Standardization Management Council. It's a part of CIMIC. Mr. Ihsan spoke about this, I think, in his presentation also. This is the council which is responsible for the overall control and follow-up of all standardization activities in CIMIC. It has 9 member states, and vice chairman of CIMIC is always the president of the chairman of this council. Okay, the key bodies that drive standardization process in CIMIC are technical committees. This is indeed an international practice in most of the standardization bodies, national or international or regional. You will see this committee structure. Here we have members in this committee, which are called the participating members or observer members. Every member at a certain level of contribution, they can be a part of this. Our committees are open to the participation of our member states, limited with this, but if a member state is a P member in a committee, they can assign committee members to that committee from their own industry or whoever is an expert on that particular subject. So this is what we are doing. In our committees, every committee has a precise title, scope, and the work program. According to this, they conduct their studies. Like we have Technical Committee 1, Halal Food Issues. This is the committee who is issuing the standards on halal food. So all the committee members should be, at a certain level, be relevant with the halal industry, especially halal food industry. So this is what the technical committees are, how being conducted. Every committee has a secretary. In our case, a member state, CIMIC member state, if it's a P member in a committee, can hold the secretary and assign a secretary. And a chairman of each committee we assign by Standardization Management Council. Also, for the projects, you can assign experts if there are working groups under technical committees. So these experts are assigned by P members. And also liaison organizations, which is also, we are working, for example, in our committees, International Islamic Academy, experts to those working groups. So we have main documents which are essential for the standardization procedures in CIMIC. The first one is the Directive 1, Part 1, Procedures for Technical Work. All the rules, which includes the project approach, the balloting, how the standards approved according to which criteria, all included in this directive. And part 2 is the structure of the document itself, how a CIMIC standard should be structured, how it should be drafted. All the rules are CIMIC directives too, and we have 2 guides. One is on adoption at national level and regional level of OIC CIMIC standards. The other one is the guiding rules of sales and distribution of our standards. And in addition to this, my colleague will be delivering the details of this Committee on Standards for Conformity Assessment. This is also works like a technical committee. The function is to issuing the standards related to conformity assessment. And these are the current technical committees. Currently we have 16 technical committee and 42 new projects is being run in technical committee. So how we issue standards? The thing is, we take every standard idea from the beginning as a project, okay? If you, as a member state or from outside CIMIC, if you have an idea, you can propose this to CIMIC. And when it is introduced in the, at the level of a technical committee, it is taken as a project proposal, okay? And then the proposal is being discussed at the committee level. If it's approved, it starts as a new project under the work program of a technical committee. So this can be for a new project, for a new standard initiative, or revision of an existing standard can also be a project at CIMIC. And this is the development process for an OIC CIMIC standard. As you see, it starts with the proposal stage. It is proposed, it is approved by the committee, then the clock starts ticking in terms of the project timeline. You have to define the target dates. Depending of the, it's case-by-case situation, depending of the project, okay? The committee should decide for the time frame of the committee of this project in maybe 3 years' time if it's very needs technical work very much, or 1 year you can take the fast track. But the normal procedure is starts with the proposal, and then a working group is established. Here, the experts from member states, especially P members and also liaison organizations, can be a part of this working group with a convener. They developed the initial draft to be submitted to committee. So the working group, the experts are there with their knowledge and experience. So they draft the first initial draft, and whenever it is ready, they submit it to the technical committee secretariat. And secretariat takes this draft as the first committee draft, we say, and it is circulated to all members of the technical committee. So it is again evaluated by members. If there is something to add, it is redrafted until we get the consensus at the committee level. So after that, when the committee and the chairman, secretary are convinced that they reached consensus, it is submitted to CIMIC General Secretariat. In this part, we take we start the ballot, which is called inquiry ballot, which is called draft standard, the S ballot we call it. We sent this time not only to P members of the committee, but also to all CIMIC member states. So after this, whenever it is, we have a criteria. If its criteria is fulfilled, then we proceed to publication. But if there is still some points to be considered, if it is changed again, then it goes afterwards to approval stage, final draft standard. And later on, if everything is fine, the standard is published. This is the same and detailed how, because every ballot has a certain time, some 2 months ballot, some 3 months. So this is the procedure we follow. And everyone at the committee, as I explained, has a responsibility throughout all this process. Like the chairman should know about whether the committee is obtained the consensus, and also secretary should follow from the beginning until the publication all the procedure. So basically speaking, these are the procedures also which are being practiced at the level of other international standardization organizations. So whoever would like to be part of this process, you're all welcomed through your standardization body's approval, and also as an expert at the working groups. This is all I would like to speak for today. If any questions I can receive now, or at the end of the first session we will have 5 minutes to receive all questions. If everything is okay, I will like to continue with my colleague, Mr. Murat. All the procedures here I explained is being controlled in CIMIC information system, we call it. Mr. Murat is responsible for information technologies in CIMIC information system. The floor is yours, Mr. Murat. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Yasin. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Murat Taşarsu. I'm assistant specialist at SMIC. Today, we are going to talk about information technologies used in SMIC standardization process. So we generally talk about our online application, SMIC IS. So what is it? What is it used for? And some technical features we are going to talk about. And this is the user interface of our application. And so, what is CIMIC? CIMIC is an online application that we run all our technical work and all our technical documents, especially CIMIC technical committees use this application. So all projects, ballots, all the work has been done on CIMIC IS. Better without mask. When we start using CIMIC IS, first we developed CIMIC IS at 2015. An electronic collaborative environment to increase the efficiency of communication level among member states. It was the first version that we have developed, and many standards has been produced by using it. Last year in 2021, we have initiated the project to rewrite this application, and we have developed CIMIC IS from scratch last year with a lot of new features and using latest technology and with a lot of new functionality. So this application is used by technical committees especially. So secretaries, chairs, and committee members use it. Secretaries and conveners create meetings, create end documents, send emails to members, upload resolutions after meetings. And in CIMIC, we use project-based standard development approach. So while working with projects, secretaries initiate ballots, voters from member countries cast vote for these ballots. And all project, like my friend Yasin showed, all project stages are carried on this application, and they proceed to become standards. And also, CIMIC IS is linked to our website, so when we make change in this application, it is directly reflected to our website. So what are these changes? When we create a new organization or when we create a new committee, it is reflected directly to our website. All projects, ballots, meetings are synchronized. Even standards, when they are published, is automatically listed in our web catalog, and it can be purchased online. So in CIMIC IS, there are some portals. So there are users, organizations, these are fields. So most of the fields are interacting with each other. So organizations has users have some roles and permissions. According to these permissions, they can manage parts. So there are meetings, documents, and end documents are a really important part of the application. So in projects, related with projects, we have ballots. Ballots are done with votes, and projects also have some stages. So finally projects become standards and the work becomes completed. For user interface, we have worked with a good designer. So we have a good, unique user interface. And using online applications on mobile devices is very common. Mobile devices are very popular. While developing this application, we consider mobile usage at first place. That's why we have a responsive design. CIMIC IS can be used on all mobile devices. And also I'm going to mention a little bit about technical details. CIMIC IS has two different parts, backend and frontend. So backend is a Laravel application. It is fast and secure. We deploy our application to the cloud. We use AWS service provider. We have a serverless environment. So according to our needs, applications scales up and down. Automatically, we don't do anything for it. We use AWS buckets. Again, this is a serverless environment. We keep our files on this service. There is no storage or file size limit in this service. And Netflix, Pinterest, Minecraft, they also use this same service. It's good and secure. So we have a lot of emails being sent from CIMIC IS, and we use Amazon simple email service for this again. And we can also manage bounces. We have used test-driven development methodology to create this app. We have more than 700 tests, and we have confidence while we update this application in the future. We have used Vue framework for the client application. And yes, disaster recovery part. So a disaster event is one of the biggest challenges that a business can face. So disaster recovery is a crucial part of our business continuity plan. We use highly available, scalable and durable services to deploy our CIMIC IS application. And we have a well-prepared strategy, and we use backup and restore approach for disaster recovery. And in conclusion, as information technology department of CIMIC, we are obsessively passionate about new technology, and our mission is to use latest technology for CIMIC's strategic priorities, which are develop high-quality standards that are used worldwide, support members' needs and ensure effective engagement of their stakeholders, and support the enhancement of quality infrastructure and interconnectivity of members. So that's all from my side. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I would like to thank Mr. Murat for his important presentation, which is we want to show you the background of CIMIC standardization process that is very complicated in the back end, this program, but on the front end, it's very easy for our member states to use. And it's always open to the development, of course. Now, this was the end of the first session. If you have any questions, I would like to receive, and I believe our speakers will also be happy to answer. Okay. I think it's okay in the back. Could you help? Could you help to get the microphone?
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
My name is Mustafa from Nigeria. We know Nigeria is a part of the OIC member countries, and I think so how we, the member, can benefit on this, the so that we can be more part of the using the app. And the other issue I'm talking about, I know the OIC SMIC area we're talking about on halal ventures. We need more collaboration with you guys to see how the country can be benefit on a lot of benefit on the project you are talking about. Because we look at Nigeria is one of the 200 million population and over 120 million population, and we need more collaboration with you and a spiritual collaboration is not the halal and other ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your question. I'll try to just briefly answer. Nigeria, just last year, last November, it was approved. Their membership was approved by our board of directors. It's the latest member in our structure. Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON. They represent Nigeria at the level of CIMIC. And anyone who would like to be a part of CIMIC standardization process and all technical work, if you are from Nigeria, for example, you want to contribute to this technical work with the True Standardization Organization of Nigeria, anyone can be a part of our technical work. But the first thing is the Nigeria Standardization Organization should be a member in a particular technical committee, and then the experts should come through this way. And the members who are a part of the technical work, they can assign users to CIMIC information system. So through the members, again, the accessibility to the information system is done. I think it's okay. Okay, thank you. Are there any questions more? Okay, because of the light, I have some, not easy to see the back rows, but it's okay, I guess. Okay, if you allow me, we can continue with the session 2. Is it okay for everyone? I think we can continue. Okay. Now it is time for me to start the session 2. We will continue with the presentation of Mrs. Gaida Alsabe. She will be presenting the aspects of CIMIC Strategy 2021-2030. She's responsible for the follow-up of all activities with regards to CIMIC strategy. Okay, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm glad to be here today to share with you our new roadmap for future activities, CIMIC Strategic Plan 2021-2030. Our outline for today will be introduction, vision, our mission, strategic goals, strategic objectives, strategic map and balance scorecard, CIMIC strategic initiatives and projects for future. Our new CIMIC strategic plan has become effective on the 1st of January 2021 after its approval from the 15th General Assembly. The action plan is outcome of efforts and collaborative studies with all member states. The plan gives the general framework since it's have a long time period, which is 10 years, and this will be supported with 2-yearly implementation plans. Our vision is to create quality infrastructure that improves economy, welfare, and protects our member states. The mission is to develop quality infrastructure by establishing uniformity in standardization methodology and accreditation activities, including conformity assessment and quality improvement to facilitate trade and support sustainable economic growth, consumer welfare, environment, and innovation promotion for our member states. Our strategic plan is focusing on 3 distinct high-level goals. The first one is develop high-quality standards that are used worldwide. The second one is support members' needs and ensure effective engagement of their stakeholders. The third one is support the enhancement of quality infrastructure and interconnectivity of members. To realize our strategic plan, we have set 13 strategic objectives and 20 key performance indicators. The strategic objectives will be conducted and the progress will be followed by measuring our key performance indicators over time. I will go through strategic objectives very fast. 1, develop high-quality standards that are relevant to the needs of members and stakeholders. 2, encourage adoption and implementation of OIC SMEC standards by members. 3, promote SMEC activities to leverage satisfaction. 4, support members, especially least developed countries, to strengthen national quality infrastructure. 5, provide a common and internationally recognized platform for halal accreditation based on OIC SMEC standards. 6, improve the standardization process. Support and coordinate members, especially least developed countries, for effective engagement with regional and international organizations. Ensure the coordination and synergies with other organizations among projects implemented. Improve technical infrastructure of SMEC to meet priority needs. Coordinate and organize projects, meetings, and trainings for technical capacity building. Support the members to enhance interconnectivity. Increase revenue to make SMEC financially sufficient, and utilize SMEC members' resources for supporting SMEC activities to decrease expenses. Okay, on this slide, you can see our strategy map. On this slide, the strategy map will summarize and illustrates our strategic plan in a clear and general language. It shows the strategic vision, mission, goals, and objectives, and also it shows the interrelations between them and the relevance to the balanced scorecard perspective, which is a customer, internal processes, learning and growth, and financial. On this slide, you will see a summary of a SMEC implementation plan. As we said, we will support our plan by 2 yearly implementation plan. This is the plan for the first 2 years, for 2021-2022. It shows the strategic objectives and the key performance indicators, the initiatives we will conduct through these 2 years, and the targets. Okay, now I will tell you a brief information regarding our future initiatives and projects. For realizing our first goal, which is develop high-quality standards that are used worldwide, we have set many initiatives and projects in this regard. The first one is increasing coherence and efficiency of standards development process. This initiative will be accomplished through 2 projects. The one is analyzing the standardization areas that contribute to increase the intra-OIC trade, and the other one is conducting standards development trainings for our member states. The second initiative is regarding improving our standardization process. This will be done through engaging academia in the standards project process, and also we will give more importance for research activities so that our standards will be based on research activities. Another one of our initiatives is promoting OIC SMEC standards and aiding our members in their use. In this regard, we will conduct training courses for our members to tell them about our standards so they can implement it more easily. Also, we will conduct awareness program to raise the awareness regarding OIC SMIC standards and regarding the importance of standards in eliminating technical barriers of trade. In our new strategy, we have given a special importance for gender equality and women empowerment. We aim to ensure gender balance by increasing women participation in our technical committee work, and also we aim to our standards to be gender responsive ones. By conducting this project, we wish to benefit from the capabilities and qualifications and experiences of women experts in standards development process. We have a program for quality infrastructure development. This program will support member states in developing and improving their national quality infrastructure, will provide the necessary capacity building trainings for member states, and will support least developed countries through specific programs to develop and improve their quality infrastructure to assist them to be engaged with regional and international organizations. One of our most important projects is launching SMIC Academy. We are seeking for professional and competent experts to help this academy be one of the professional and trustworthy worldwide. The SMIC Training Academy will include physical training courses, online e-learning training platform, and offline training materials. The trainings will cover a wide range of halal issues, quality, environment, and health and safety courses. Accreditation, as you all know, is very essential in order to complement the integrity of the quality infrastructure system. We have set an initiative in this regard, and this initiative will aim to provide a common and internationally recognized platform for halal infrastructure, for halal accreditation, and this will be based on OIC SMIC standards. Regarding coordination and synergies with other organizations, in our new strategy, we will encourage cooperation with other organizations, regional and international ones, which works in standardization-related activities. And we will conduct many activities and projects on capacity building trainings with competent partners. We have signed many memorandum of understanding with regional organizations, and we wish to sign more and more in the near future with international organizations. Our conclusion: SMIC, through its strategy 2030, will continue its efforts in achieving uniformity in all elements of equality infrastructure in OIC member states. Providing necessary technical assistance according to the needs and expectations of our members is one of our priorities. We would be glad to get your support and contribution, and we wish to continue our new journey with all of you. Thanks for listening, and if you have questions, I'm glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gaida, for this important presentation. I remember that it was really a hard process to prepare this strategy. Many meetings with the SMIC member states. They prepared this indeed, the strategy. So, inshallah, we will follow up the strategy and we will design our activities in line with our strategy. Thank you very much. Now, we will continue our program with the presentation of Mr. Çağrı Can Kurtaran, SMIC specialist, and also the secretary of SMIC CCA, Committee on Conformity Assessment. I'll give the floor to Mr. Çağrı Can Kurtaran.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Very good afternoon. I would like to thank all the friends and colleagues who are here and who are watching us online in Dubai Expo. I will, inshallah, try to briefly explain what the CIMIC CCA, the Committee on Conformity Assessment, I will explain briefly, inshallah. This is the outline. As my colleague explained and also Mr. Ihsan explained in detail, we have SMC standards, Energy Management Council, and under that there are TCs, the technical committees, but CCA is also has a special structure. It is intended to develop standards, but it also has some role on policy. Very briefly, it develops conformity assessment standards, and it was established at the end of 2015, and it's a very active committee. As I mentioned, as CCA, we develop policy and also publishes OIC standards. Sometimes there is some confusion. They thought that this committee also performs conformity assessment activities. No, we do not have. And membership is open to all member states. It means that any member state can come and become a P member. When we say conformity assessment, of course, there is a scope. It is related with the activities like testing, calibration, certification, inspection, accreditation. And so we give special emphasis, especially for the Halal conformity assessment and accreditation activity standards. So this committee is important for CIMIC, actually. While we are developing standards, as Mr. Insan mentioned, whenever needed, we take advice from International Islam Fiqh Academy. It is also liaison of the CIMIC CCA. Also, we have the other internal liaisons, because there are some projects together or to be together evaluated with common understanding. So we also cooperate internally with some TCs. As I mentioned, conformity assessment includes activities about the products, processes, services, persons, systems, bodies. As I mentioned, it is like testing, inspection, evaluation, examination, auditing, assessment, and every day, there are something added for these processes to increase the efficiency. So if you see, you can see all the elements, and most of them are governmental, yani accreditation especially, and standard development for the metrology calibration. But this area, conform testing, inspection, certification, they are mostly carried out by the organization, bodies that we are developing standards for. So this shows, you saw it before, this is the ideal case. It can be food or any other product. In the lower level of the pyramid, we have standards like OIC 149. It is for food or cosmetic or tourism. As CCA, we are developing standard for the second and third level of the pyramid. It is the important one because everyone is complaining about that certification body is a company would like to import, export products. It gets certificate, but it doesn't work some this country, that country. It is because the standard is like speaking the same language. We develop standards for these issues, but to be able to speak the same language, we should follow the same documents. The certification bodies, if they follow the same requirements of the standards or accreditation bodies, it can be easily actually solved. And we have standards. Actually, this was published before, but in 2019, we have revised OIC and 2 and 3 standards according to the new updates. Especially, we would like our standards to be in line with international standards. So we have these ones. Also, in 2020, it was a productive year. We have some other standards, 33, 34, 35, 36. It is related, all of them are related with the halal, because we do not want the halal to be only stuck in the halal and halal certification, because this is a huge area, you know. As I mentioned, the certification bodies, they should speak the same language. So we prepared the standard for example of a certification scheme, or we mentioned about, Sister Guide, about training. So if we have to have trained, qualified auditors, lead auditors, Islamic affairs experts, we should, you know, teach them in a way that everyone will be okay with them. I mean, there is a body, it gives, you know, certificate for, you know, lectures for these auditors or others, Islamic affairs experts. So it should follow also certain standards. And the other are with laboratory and the proficiency testing. I will explain briefly. As I mentioned, the important thing is this standard, because to be able to speak this same language, this standard, for example, defines, you know, the expert, you know, recruited by the certification body, what will be the minimum level of criteria for education, for training, or how you calculate the mandate, you know, when you are going to audit. Okay, so the standards also say that the certification body should implement a management system. You have to follow your corrective actions, preventive actions. Okay, there are many rules. Why do we have these rules? Because the certification bodies should be in a certain level, because the people are complaining, oh, I get a halal certificate, they give me like a bonus. It doesn't work like this. Any certification body in any city or country of the world should do the same practices. So it can be done by speaking the same language. Okay, now there are some accreditation, you know, activities increased, but in this case, they use different standards. But most of the standards, especially OIC 2, the countries, are taken from OIC standard. If you go in detail, maybe more than 95% of the standard are the same. So we have to reach a common understanding, you know. So for OIC 3 also the same. It's for the accreditation bodies of the OIC member state should follow the same procedure, so we can rely. If any certification, halal certificate is accredited, you know, by an accreditation body, so it's very easy to have confidence on them. And you know, in CIMIC, we have CIMIC Accreditation Council trying to help them. They are inviting all national accreditation bodies who can come and improve your, you know, to make your regulations, guys, whatever, you have to rely on yourself. And this is already applied by, you know, IF, ILAC. So it can be easily done also for the halal conform assessment and accreditation activities. For example, as I mentioned, we have OIC 33. Yes, we prepared the standard, for example, OIC 1. Also, we are trying to improve the process by giving, you know, another standard. Look, if you would like to have a scheme as a certification body, these standards gives you how you can manage, how you establish and manage and improve it. So it is also in line with the ISO standards. Okay. So for example, OIC 34 is also related. Okay. There are some bodies that give training, but how we can rely on them that the training is, you know, based on certain requirements or not. This is also a good example, because OIC 2 says that we have to have trained staff. In next level, after we overcome these issues like which certificate, whose certificate, we should go in detail and come to a point, and we should see the competence of the certification or the body who's giving, you know, certificates for the experts, auditors. We should come to that point. And we have also standard 35, like for the laboratories who are performing Halal-related activities. It is also in line with the ISO standard, because it's not easy to give certificate to any product before testing without the existence of testing. So we have some laboratories that we can rely on their reports. And this is also important. For example, maybe Mohammed will introduce later on, we are trying to develop standards related to test methods. So to do so, you have to have some standards explaining how the laboratories should perform the proficiency testing for halal purposes. When you read the headings, it can be not, you can say that, look, this is irrelevant to halal, but when you go in detail, especially in the technical part, you will see that they are very important. We have also now in the agenda of CCA a new standard project on halal inspection. We are, as the brother Yasin mentioned, we have a good system to develop standard. For example, we are in a stage that we collected the comments of the member states on this standard project. We include all the comments received, and we have a good environment to develop standards. This is like a criticism that we see sometimes, why OIC standards are in line with the ISO standards. Because they have many technical nature in many aspects. We also say that, as I said earlier, the OIC standard should say that the certification body should follow, implement and follow a management system. So if a certification body is applying this one, it should be in line with ISO. A certification body, for me, will provide better, activity if they also, give ISO 22000 certification at the same time. So the certification bodies actually sees this advantage. Maybe it is not also profitable to run only a certification body working on halal, so it should be added, ISO 22000. So the manufacturer can directly, work with certification body from whom it can take the ISO 22000, 9000, or halal certificate. So we always say that it should be in line. And as I said earlier, the main objective of CIMIC to develop a series of generic standards of this objective of TCA and conformity assessment. We say that we should focus more technical aspects. It is not easy, and halal is not an simple subject that you can still discuss whether studying is important or not. Yes, it's important, but when you go into processed food or other, not food, cosmetic, when you see the import-export dates, the product itself, you directly see that we should go in detail more in technical point of view and work on this. And as I said, this is the last, the conformity assessment bodies should be more involved in personnel certification, halal testing, and inspection. And this is the end of my presentation. I would like to thank all for your kind attention, and we will be happy to reply any questions, even here or even by email or other measures. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank you, Mr. Çağrıcan Kurtaran, for his important presentation. And it's very crucial and very important for certification bodies to follow up certain rules which are set by standardization organizations like CIMIC, especially for halal. So we will continue our program with the presentation of Mr. Dr. Mohammed Ali Al-Sheikh. He is the technical assistant assistant specialist in CIMIC and also technical assistant to Technical Committee 1, which is Halal Food Issues, Technical Committee 2, Halal Cosmetic, and Technical Committee 16, which is Halal Pharmaceuticals. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon. Inshallah, our presentation will be simple and easy. Speaking about the halal standards in food, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, the latest things in CIMIC. So in general, we will speak about what you call it, our organization in general, the importance of halal standards, and we will go for food, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical. I bought this one before I see my friend's presentation. So we know that CIMIC is an international governmental organization. Besides its government, we can let all stakeholders join in writing our standards if they follow the directive. So the secret to know how to participate in CIMIC standard writing is to know how to use the directive of CIMIC. The directive book gives you the rules, how to give suggestion for new item proposal, and how this liaison happened with CIMIC, and how expert can be nominated to join working group. All of these things are mentioned in the directives. We have 34 member countries now, permanent member countries, and 3 observers. They are joined by their national organization for standards and metrology and accreditation. And we think that making a unified halal system, accreditation system, is the best way, win-win solution to make halal industry better than the current situation. As my friend also mentioned before, we are not starting from the zero. Our standard is based on the technical international standards, beside the Islamic rules. You can see that CIMIC 1, for example, is based on ISO 22000, ISO 22002, ISO 22005 for traceability, the Codex 1, Codex 58 for meat. So we don't reinvent the wheel. We take what people agree on the international standards, and we put our Islamic rules on it. These Islamic rules, we take it with cooperation with the International Islamic Fiqh Academy. They join our meetings, and we send, if we have some questions, if we have some new questions in our meetings, we send it to the International Fiqh Academy, and we follow their resolutions. So we will speak about food standards. I will go in this systematic way, speak about the TC, Technical Committee, what's the member countries, what's the scope for this TC, what is the published standard, and what is the project that we are doing now. So TC1, the Halal Food Committee, is the biggest committee in CIMIC. The secretariat is for the TSE, the Turkish Standard Institute. Secretary is Ms. Tuba Daisoglu. She is the head of the Department of Halal in TSE. Our chairperson now for this session is Dr. Madiha Isra. She is a biochemist. She has a patent in porcine detection. And I am the technical assistant for this committee. This committee created in 2011. And there is a working group under this committee, TC1 Working Group 1, which is porcine detection and ethanol detection in food and cosmetic. We will speak about this working group, inshallah. So this is our member, B member in this committee. There are 29 countries, and we have around 6 observers. the difference between observer and member, that observer can give their opinion, but they cannot vote for the standards. This is why we advise our member countries to be member unless they are observer in the OIC. The published standard in this committee, the most important one, the famous one, CIMIC 1. It's published first time in 2011, and we published the second edition in 2019. I think all people know about CIMIC 1. It's the majority of the halal standard in the world is taken from this standard. It was an effort of the SIG group before establishment of CIMIC, and after CIMIC establishment, a lot of change happened and added to improve this standard. It's give a lot of details about meat industry and how to make the meat industry and the processed food, the slaughtering, and all of these things. It's our basic standard, which still a normative reference for any new halal standard. You can find all related things to meat, camel industry, even for hunting. All of these rules are found in CIMIC 1. Last year, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, a new standard published, CIMIC 24, OIC CIMIC 24. It's about food additives, and the full title for this standard is General Requirements for Food Additives and Other Added Chemicals. And the other added chemicals is processing aids, flavorings, and nutrients and enzyme. Anyone working in the food industry know the importance of these groups. And in this standard, the technical committee answer a lot of questions about using of insect, for example, in different food additives, using of the ethanol as solvent. And also in this standard, we mention CIMIC opinion and the Islamic Fiqh Academy opinion about the istihala, which make a lot of fatty acid not accepted as halal. And also we set the safety and maximum daily limits according to the latest studies by the FAO and the WHO. At the end of this standard, the committee make a lot of studies to the previous work on the food additives. There was some efforts before CIMIC effort, like the Thailand halal book, H number book, like Malaysian efforts. We collect all of these efforts, and the committee study the E numbers and give opinion about all of these E numbers according to the CIMIC rules. So if you take CIMIC 24, you will find answer for all of these things according to CIMIC. Last year, we published our latest standard, OIC CIMIC 22. It's about halal edible gelatin and its requirement and its test methods. Actually, this standard was proposed by Pakistan in 2019. They have a standard about halal gelatin, and the committee worked on this standard for almost 3 years. The standard gives a lot of details about the production of gelatin, the factory, how the factory should be, and all of the process of manufacturing of gelatin. So it's focused more on the manufacturing part of the gelatin. It's also contain all test methods related to test the gelatin, both from safety side and quality side. Also, it's give a clear statement about the CIMIC opinion on the istihala of the gelatin, because a lot of people ask about this one, and it's not mentioned clearly in other standards. This is the first standard which give this rule. Also, this standard give rules for the factories, how it will be designed. Is it only for production of gelatin and only for halal products? It's set the rules for these things. We will speak now about the current project, which is in CIMIC 1. The first one is OIC CIMIC 23, animal feed stuff. This standard now in the latest stage. This is the last ballot, inshallah, will launch now for 2 months. So it will publish hopefully this year, inshallah. This standard speak about the requirement for the animal feed. And we know that there is a lot of doubtful material enter in the animal feed. And according to CIMIC 1, animal feed is part of the food chain. So it shall be halal, focus on the halal things. And we focus on that all the animal feed shall be free from any najis material. There is 2 more projects in CIMIC TC1, CIMIC 25 and CIMIC 26. A special working group created for this one, made from expert people in analyzing, in analytical chemistry. The area of this one is to find the porcine detection method and ethanol detection method to be used in our laboratory. So the working group look for all of these kind of tests. We are looking for porcine contamination in meat, porcine contamination in processed food, porcine in gelatin. Also, we are looking for meat speciation method and detection of porcine in cosmetic and detection of ethanol. This 6 method. We ask our member countries to provide us with their national method. There is 4 countries nominate their methods: Thailand, Malaysia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia. These countries have their national method. The working group studied this national method and organized for inter-laboratory comparison study. Inshallah, this study will conduct it soon with 10 member countries. They will join, each member country will join with 2 laboratory. So after all of this study, we will decide, inshallah, if the result is okay, the method will be sent to TC1, Halal Food Committee, to be accepted as test method for CIMIC standards. But still, inshallah, until now in the process for this interlaboratory conversion test, inshallah. Hopefully, inshallah, in the near future, after the approval of the budget, inshallah. And the same committee is working on other project. One of them is working on the possible future project of the rapid halal kits and distinction between natural and synthetic ethanol. This is another project, inshallah. The other project is 26 for the ethanol, especially for ethanol detection in food and in cosmetic using different gas chromatography methods. We have another project also proposed by Saudi Arabia for the limits of the ethanol in the natural fermented product, because we know that a lot of product used by natural fermentation, it's contain alcohol, but it's not haram, so we should set the limit for our laboratory to decide which one is accepted, which one is not accepted, like a lot of fermented product, soy, and kefir, buza, and all other kind of fermented product. Inshallah, also this one is still in the process. By this way, we finish the food projects in CIMIC committee, TC1. The second committee is TC2, Halal Cosmetic also. We will speak about the structure, published standard, and the projects. CIMIC TC2, the secretariat is for United Arab Emirates. Ms. Fatima Shat is the secretary, and Dr. Ruba Thawabia is the chairperson. And it's established in 2012, and there is one working group under this committee with 23 experts. Actually, we start to establish this working group of experts from 2 years ago. This is a new era in CIMIC. to assign experts to discuss the initial draft of the standards and to improve the quality of the standard. This is the member countries in our TC2. We have 23 B members and 5 observers. The scope of the committee is to do standardization in the cosmetic products, also to do fulfillment of halal requirements, improve both safety and quality parameters. The published standard is one standard, which is CIMIC 4, the only standard that we publish in cosmetic, halal cosmetic general requirements. It's defined the basic requirements in halal cosmetic. It's set the rules for what is halal doubtful in general guidelines. We know that there is a lot of critical chemicals in halal cosmetic, and CIMIC 4 gives the general guidelines, and now there is a project to give detailed list for the animal-based. The current project now, we have 2 projects in TC2. The first one is to do, which we call it CIMIC 46, halal cosmetic claims. It's give details about cosmetic packaging and claims, because there is halal claims, some cosmetic claim that this is wudu friendly, for example, this product is suitable for perfume free, alcohol free, all of these claims which is used in halal cosmetic, we set the rules for this packaging. The second project is CIMIC 45, which is halal cosmetic doubtful ingredients definition and criteria. We know that the doubtful ingredients come usually from the animal. The majority of the animals' products are halal critical. So the aim of this list is to define the majority of the animal-based ingredients and to categorize it as halal, doubtful, and non-halal. Because we know that there is animal-based ingredients like the musk, for example, and castoreum, which we take it from different cat. This is used from all time. We use a lot of wool fat, collagen, elastin, beeswax in our creams. We use fish products in different cosmetic products. We use human placenta. We use what call it different animal. All of these things we need to list the majority of them and define halal status for them. Also, we will speak about the insect status in this standard and the ethanol used in cosmetic. The last committee is the halal pharmaceutical, TC16. We will speak about current projects because we didn't publish anything in this committee until now. This committee was established in 2019. The Department of Standard Malaysia is the secretariat for this one. Ms. Fakiza Burhan is the secretary, and the chairperson is Prof. Zahari Ismail, who already passed away last month. So inshallah now will be another chairman. We have 3 working groups under this technical committee. In this technical committee, we have 12 member countries and 5 observers. So the current project is one standard in 3 parts. So we find that to make one standard with 3 parts, the first one will be halal pharmaceutical general requirements, which give the general guidelines for halal pharmaceutical. The second part will be requirements for biopharmaceuticals, which include the vaccine. This is an important topic which covers all biotechnology products and especially the vaccine. And the third part will be requirements for health supplement and nutraceuticals. They establish one working group, and it's working on the different part of this standard. And I think we're still in the second stage in this standard, but alhamdulillah, the working group is still working well in these issues. There is 2 new projects. It's not standard, but it will help our work in this committee. The first one is guideline on conventional medicine other than halal pharmaceutical. The things that we cannot accept it as halal pharmaceutical, but we can use it because of the darura, and it's contains some najis material. The committee, the working group will set the rules for these things. And another list for halal, non-halal, and doubtful active pharmaceutical ingredient, excipients, and medicine list. Also, the working group, another working group, will work on this one to make this list. So this is the work in these three committees. And as I see here, the majority here are from halal certification bodies. We welcome all stakeholders according to CIMIC directives. You can suggest new standards. You can, share your opinion through your national government member or by making liaison according to CIMIC directive. Hopefully, inshallah, this is basic things about these things. Thank you, and if there is any question, I will be happy to answer you.
Microphone, please. Could you pass the microphone? Yeah. The gentleman in the second row. Please.
Thank you, Brother Ali, for a very wonderful presentation. Just I need information that CIMIC draft standard for animal feed too, or this is in process?
For what?
Standards for animal feed.
Animal feed.
Is developed or is under process now?
It's in the last stage. We arrive to the final draft standard. So inshallah, if it's passed this ballot, it will be published soon, inshallah. So it's in the last stage.
Okay.
Hopefully this year, inshallah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed Ali. The first standard in CIMIC was OIC CIMIC 1 and OIC CIMIC 2 and 3. So halal food is one of the most important part of halal certification, we all know. And also the cosmetics, and so is pharmaceutical. So that's why we are working with the contribution of our member states and all professionals to issue and just to respond the needs of the industry. So now I will also present the last presentation regarding the another sector which is related to halal industry, halal tourism services. Okay, halal tourism services general requirements standard. It was published in 2019. We will have a close look in, not detail, but a close look to OIC CIMIC standard on halal tourism services. First of all, I would like to mention about the story of this standard, why we needed this standard. You know, there are global challenges in halal industry, which most of you are aware, like certification of the same product by many different parties, duplication of efforts. So this is one thing. And also reliability of the certification. This is also a challenge. And in specific with the halal tourism services, also there are many definitions. We needed to have the common understanding. We needed to reflect the common understanding to our standards, have the common terms and definitions with regards to tourism services, halal tourism services. And also one other thing was to respond the needs of the industry, because as a Muslim traveler. When you travel in a Muslim country, you will have many things that you need in terms of halal tourism services. But if you go abroad, a non-OIC country, you will face much more difficulties than your country. So this was also a challenge to be included in this standard. And also this document that I'm talking about right now, which is strategic roadmap for development of halal tourism in OIC member states, was developed by CESRIC of OIC and adopted in the 10th Council of Tourism Ministers of OIC as a guiding document. In this document, there was reference to activities of CIMIC, and CIMIC was mandated through this document by OIC to issue a standard which will respond to the needs of stakeholders in halal tourism industry. So in that time, we were already started our project, but this was an urge for us to finish our job. So the committee started to work intensively after this mandate, and with that regards, CIMIC Committee on Tourism and Related Issues took the responsibility to issue this standard. As of today, it has key members like Algeria, Cameroon, Iran, Malaysia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, and also Thailand, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and Palestine are members in this as observer in this committee. As of today, it has published one standard which we are talking about today, OIC 9 2019 Halal Tourism Services General Requirements. So this is just a main outline of the content of the committee, content of the standards. As you may see, there are the classification of halal tourism services and facilities, the requirements, two parts, which are the general and the others are the halal requirements. Also requirements for management and personal staff also included in this standard. But the most important part is the classification of accommodation premises that I will tell you in the further slides. So this is the scope of the standard. It defines the tourism industry terminology, and it can be used by small or big organizations, and also it includes the rules for accommodation services, the rules for tourist packages, tourist guides, and some recreational activities. As in most of CIMIC standards and also the other international standards, there are normative references which are in this standard is OIC CIMIC 1, general requirements for halal food. The other one is OIC CIMIC 4, halal cosmetics and general requirements. In terms of food, which is a part of the tourism services, of course, we refer to OIC CIMIC 1, and cleansing materials, such things that are used in the halal tourism services, we refer to OIC CIMIC 4. Yes, as I told you before, the challenge was to define the terminology, so we come up with these terms and definitions. The committee discussed many times before publishing all the stages that I explained in my previous presentation. This document been through all these stages, and at the end, everyone was agreed on publishing the standard, and it was published. So you can find the definition of halal tourism services and private areas or Qibla indicators, anything related with and which is found relative which is found relevant for halal tourism services. And the classification that I'm talking about is for accommodation premises. There are three parts: category A, category B, and C. The first one is the accommodation premises with halal tourism advanced scale services. B is for medium scale and C is for basic scale. As I said, it was not easy because this industry, tourism industry, wherever you go in the world, you will find the hotels that can fit the needs of the Muslims, but also that cannot fit. So at least as a Muslim, when we travel, the committee decided to define the rules, the minimum rules for that kind of hotels. If you, a Muslim traveler, is obliged to stay in a non-OIC country in a hotel, at least that accommodation promises may be in compliance with category C. So, and also the other things which are defined in this standard is the tourism packages that if it is addressed to and it defined itself as a halal tour, for example, it should be in line with the rules defined for tourism packages. And also there are guides for tourist guides, how they should treat the Muslim travelers when they design their programs. And other facilities like catering, restaurants, and recreational activities also included. The rules for those activities also included in this standard. Yes, requirements. We need the requirements. In the first place, the legislative requirements should be fulfilled. If you are an organization in halal tourism services, you should be a legal entity. And then halal requirements defined in the standard, you should also provide this. If you are category A, of course, you should provide all requirements of this standard. So there are rules like there should be no alcoholic beverages in the rooms or in the all premises. If you are you claim that you are a halal tourism service hotel, you should separate spaces and time for men and women. If it is category A, for example, accommodation premises. And as I mentioned, there are tour services and tourist guides. If you design a tour and you claim it's a halal, and also the tourists are from Muslim country, if you are making the program, also you have to consider their needs. If they require certified food, you should do it. And you should also respect the prayer times when you make the plan for visiting plan for the sightseeing places. You should all consider this. So it's all given in this standard. And also management responsibilities, it's also important. If you say that we are providing halal tourism services, also at the managerial level you have to fulfill the requirements. At least one Muslim officer should be a part of your staff and follow up the effective implementation of this halal tourism services management. So managerial requirements also included in the standard. As you see, this is an annex also given in the standard, which defines the categorization. For category A, all the requirements of the standard you should fulfill. Okay, you cannot miss one even requirement. But if it's for category B, accommodation premises, you have to be in line with this this table. Like you have to provide halal food, halal kitchen, remove alcohol in the minibar upon request, and you have to have a Qibla direction. But for example, for category C, you have to have halal food options. If your customer, if he needs halal food, you have to help them, okay? Either providing halal certified catering or just show them the list of the certified restaurants in the neighborhood or something. And also, you have to remove the alcohol. No argue with this. You have to do it. upon request, and also you have to have a Qibla direction, and if also you have to help them in halal issues, but this is just the basic for C. And of course you have to have a trained staff in your premises, because if as a Muslim you go to the reception and when you say something with regards to halal, and if you claim that you are at category C, the personnel should be trained to answer the questions at least and help you out. So there are other basic requirements for restaurants and recreational activities, but these are mostly informative. So in this standard, basically, I can say we try to answer the needs and we try to consider all possible conditions that a Muslim traveler can face. So this standard, briefly saying, can serve in the accommodation premises in non-OIC countries with limited halal tourism services, and it is for OIC countries with moderate halal tourism services, and it's for OIC countries with advanced halal tourism services. So for today, for now, this is the end of my presentation. I'll be happy, if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much. Okay, could you pass the microphone? Here, gentleman here.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. My name is Nabil Amin Mullah. First of all, I'd like to thank my dear friend, Brother Hassan, for the invitation to this very informative, really very, very informative for me, for halal, and a lot of advanced and updated knowledge about halal standards and requirements, etc., etc. So it's really very good. And I'd like to thank all the staff of SMEC, of course, and all the presenters that did very good. Just only small comments. I think it's very important for any standard that being approved by SMEC Council, etc., etc. So try to push the members to adopt these standards as a national standard, because this is very important so they can apply it and implement this standard in their country. The second thing that also, I'm sure that some countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia maybe, or Singapore, or Saudi Arabia, or the GCC country, etc., has different standards that not yet in the process. So if you have, if you see that these standards as a national standard in one of these countries is good to start with, I think it's very important so you can adopt these standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your kind comments, Dr. Nabil Molla. Yes, you are right. Our standards are voluntary, but it's open to adoption at national level. With this regards, in line with CIMIC strategy, we are running, raising awareness activities. Like just recently, we prepared a survey with regards to the adoption of CIMIC standards. We will, raising awareness, we will encourage our members, but unlike GCC, for example, it's not an obligation for our members to adopt. We issue standards, whoever needs it, adopt it at national level and use it. Inshallah, we are working on it. We are just analyze the results of the survey. Maybe we will recirculate, we will see, and we will continue to encourage. And with regards to the taking the technical knowledge, or the projects useful, from our members, it's open, and we are doing it already. For example, this halal tourism standard, okay? It was studied by Malaysia in the first place. There is some contribution from Bosnia-Herzegovina, Turkey, and when first drafting, it was those countries initially drafted this standard, and later on the committee developed it. And also we are taking even the standard projects from GCC, not in halal. Halal also we did, but for example, in transportation, I remember right now, we took the proposal from Saudi Arabia on transportation of dangerous goods, and we already issued those standards. It was based on GCC standards, as far as I remember. So yes, you are this is very important, and you are right. Our system is open. If there is very useful ideas, useful standards in our member states, we'll be happy, and it's our responsibility to take it to CIMIC level, to share this knowledge with all CIMIC member states. Thank you. Are there any questions? And indeed, we are at the end of our conference. I'd like to thank you very much. If you have any comments, we can receive for 5 minutes. And Mr. Ihsan, final remarks, if you have any. Okay. Okay, one question we have, or comment, remark.
Assalamu alaikum. Is the contribution of the topic they discussed about on the tourism investment? I think maybe there is a need for the SMIT to look at the investment opportunity on the tourism area on the establishment of the hotel, so that it could be more of attracting a lot of country to adopt, all the private individual can come in, because the Muslim community are many in all the country. They are looking for the halal hotel now to establish, to maybe to lodge. I think maybe if you have any conference or related of the investment opportunity in the area, it will be very good on the world, and the Muslim will be attracted on that area. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you very much for this kind comment. Yes, you are right. We have to, how to say, somehow promote our standards, not in only OIC countries, but also non-OIC, because our standards for everyone in the world, it's international standards. Thank you very much. And Alhamdulillah, we've reached the end of today's conference. We're really happy to see all these important participants from all around the world, and also the ones who are following us in the live feed. Just final remark, not a remark, I would just like to invite you to the podium, all the participants present here, to take a family photo, and after that the program will be finished. Thank you very much for kind patience and listening. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
you.